Hey friends, it's Tracy. I am back again with more Christmas in July crafts to share with you. My flip-flop Santa, my cheesy Christmas lights, and my upbeat beach music is back again to share some of my Christmas crafts with you. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get started, and I will share what I have for you. Okay, I'm starting with a 14-inch wire frame, and this burlap 21-inch mesh is from Craft Outlet. I attach it at the top, and then I go across to the bottom. I like to add my mesh like this because when I put my signs on, I feel that it gives me something, in the middle for it to hold. And so I start in the inner ring, and I put 8-inch poofs around there, and then as I come around and I get to the top, I just untwist that one so that it's all connected together, and then I'll just continue. And usually, like where the wire or the bar is across, that's usually where I put my pipe cleaners. And so for this first layer, layer of the 21-inch mesh, I'm putting 12 pipe cleaners. Then when I get to the, connect to that end there, then I will drop down to the outer ring, and I put my pipe cleaner around 2 bars, and I will make my poofs probably between 9 and 10 inches. I will end up putting 12 pipe cleaners, and then when I get to the end, I just cut off with my scissors. Now, for my next layer, I'm using 4 10-inch mesh. 3 of them came from Hobby Lobby. The red and the green window pane mesh came from Craft Outlet. And so then here I'm showing you the 2 sets that I'm going to put together, the black and the white, and the red and the green, and then I will put this red and white and the craft color together, and I'm going to make 6. I'm going to cut 6 of each of these to make 12 bundles total. And so I roll out these together. I just use my rotary cutter and cut them at 12 inches. And so I will cut 6 of this pattern, then I'll move on to the black and white and the red and the green and cut 6 of those as well. And then I will make ruffles and put them into my wreath. So how I make my ruffles is just, rolling it 2 times, clipping it, turning it, around, go on the other side, clip it. Then I gather it in the middle, make like a ruffle or a cruffle, and then I cross them like in an X pattern, and then I clamp them with some clamps that I get from the Dollar Tree. Now I have 12 pipe cleaners on here, and so what I'm showing you is that I have 1 on the inner ring and 1 on the outer ring, and I get questions about this because people don't know, where do I put this? I put 1 on the top, 1 on the bottom. Then the next I'll put I'll do opposite. I'll put the other one on the top and the other one on the bottom. So I alternate back and forth in a zigzag pattern, just to, alternate them so that they're not side by side the same one. Get this mesh on, I will have 12 sets of the 2 deco mesh on there. And so then now what I'm sharing is because the pipe cleaners are kind of, one on top of the other, I have what I consider holes, 6 holes in this deco mesh wreath that I'm going to cut 6 of these white snowball mesh and make ruffles with them as well. Then I will just take pipe cleaners and just go in between that deco mesh where I consider the hole would be. And sometimes it's, easier if you make it and then you see what the person is talking about rather than having to describe it. I hope that makes sense. But, when you're looking at the wreath and you put your deco mesh on, and, in this pattern, the way that I'm sharing, then, you can kind of see where the holes are. And then that's where I include this white deco mesh wreath. And I did it the same way. I made my ruffles. And so then I am just, going through the middle and just attaching it with a pipe cleaner. And then the white I like to use for my 6 extra ones that I put in the holes. I like to use a coordinating color that's opposite or that has a coordinating color to bring it out and make it pop. The ribbons that I'm using in this wreath, I like to use 3 different sets together so that I can alternate them in the coordinating colors. And I like to have a set that I use 3 2.5-inch ribbons, and the black and white came from Michael's. The red and white dot came from Hobby Lobby, and the gnome wreath, or the gnome ribbon rather, came from Walmart. And so what I like to do is I just help myself by streamlining and getting my ribbon bundles together, so that way when I'm ready to put them on my wreath, all I have to do is grab and go. And so one thing that really helps me is putting a teeny tiny staple in them to keep them together. And this stapler is in my Amazon shop. Yes, I have gotten questions. You can use a regular staple. It's just a little bit bigger. I like to use a small one because it's teeny tiny and I don't even know it's there. Anyway, so then this next set is the red sheer ribbon I got from Walmart, and that black and white buffalo check and the craft came from Hobby Lobby. This sparkly with the red, the 2.5 is from Sam's Club. I think I got that. And then that white with the red cute check on the edges is from Walmart. And so I'm just kind of showing you there how I insert my ribbon together. Now my 2.5 I cut at 13 inches, and my 1.5 ribbons I cut at 12 inches so that they would lay a little bit better. All right, I also made just some raffia bows that I'm going to be putting in one set of the ribbon, and it looks like I put that in the red ribbons. And so this is why I like to have my ribbon bundles ready to go, and I start somewhere and I just put in my ribbon bundles, and then I alternate up, down, up, down, up, down in a zigzag pattern until I get all the way around the wreath. That way I don't have 2 ribbons next to each other. And, everything is sporadic and, looks really cute and ties all in together. And how I usually pick my ribbons is depending on the season, and also a lot goes with my sign. And so since I was using this Gnome sign, it has a black and white buffalo check. It also has the red present and the green ribbon. It also has some green, like his little boots or shoes has some green. And so that's kind of how I pick my ribbons and how I pick the coordinating colors. One thing I also do is once I put my ribbons in my pipe cleaners, I trim them off, and then I twist the pipe cleaner down and give a dot of hot glue to seal it, because I do feel that it gives a little bit extra protection for my wreath. So again, I based everything off of this cute gnome sign that I got from the Dollar Tree. Now, it's already cute, but what I like to do is kind of add some embellishment, some outline, some highlight, just to bring out a little bit more of its character. And how I do that is just take a fine Sharpie marker and just go around the edges. I'm not being very precise. I'm almost doing like an outline or a border. Now, when I get to the beard, since it's glitter, you can't be very solid, so I just kind of hit and miss there on that glitter. But the others, I just kind of go around and just kind of give it some enhancement just to bring it to life. And then I'll do the same thing with some white paint and my number 2 liner brush, just going around the edges and like the present, his shoes, his nose, just to kind of bring it out and give it more character. Since I am an old school country crafter, I love me some paint splatters, and I make sure that my table is covered, because paint splattering, it does get messy. And I use a stiff brush as well as a small stick, and you could use a toothbrush if you would like as well. And I just splatter with black paint, and then I'll go back over it with white paint. And this cute gnome is country cute now. So to once it's dry, then to attach it to my wreath, I use these 1-inch cable ties. I have them linked in my Amazon store if that's something that you're interested in. I just use some E6000 and some hot glue just to attach the holders on the back. And so then what I do is I attach it to my frame, so that my sign is secure. All right, to bring the green out in this gnome, what I'm using is this pine, and this came from Hobby Lobby. I just cut off sprigs of that, and then I attach it in between the wreath. I attach my embellishments. I make sure that I get like in the flaps so that everything is nice and secure. I like to use Gorilla hot glue sticks and just make sure everything is secure by getting in between those Deco mesh flaps. I'm also going to add some pip berries. Now, these particular pip berries you can get all year round in the garland section at Hobby Lobby. They come on a strand, and I just take off, I untwist them off of the strand, and then I use them individual picks in my wreaths and my other crafts. And I just love them so much. It just really makes my primitive country heart very happy. Okay, this is going to be my cute Santa that I made as a wreath attachment for this cute wreath. Now, what I'm using is an ornament from the Dollar Tree, as well as a Santa hat, the buffalo red and black check, and the faux fur is from Hobby Lobby, and the 1 3/4 inch balls are from Hobby Lobby. I got those on sale a couple of, a few months ago when they were, clearancing out some stuff. Anyway, but they are, smooth on one side so that they will fit nicely on my Santa. Okay, so for the little tag, I'm just using my heat tool just to get that tag off. I'm not painting it or anything because the fur is going to cover everything up. And so the first thing I do is just kind of smooth out my fur, just kind of position it on my ornament where I want it to go. I'm kind of just, arranging my hat, just kind of see where I want to lay everything before I glue it down. I'm going to want my beard to have, like a beard shape where it angles down. So I'm just kind of, was folding it down just to kind of get the shape that I want it before I cut it off. Now, I had just, bended it over, and I'm using my box blade, and I'm just taking my marker and just marking where I want to cut the felt. And the object is to cut the felt and not go all the way through to cut the cut the fur actually itself. So I'm just taking my time. I'm going through and just an X-Acto knife or something else that might work, but this is just what I had on hand, and I'm just trying to cut through the fur and not like I'm trying to cut through the felt and not cut the fur to give it a choppy look. So I'm gluing my hat on now, just trying to figure out how far I want it down. I'm just using some stuffing that I got, from Walmart, something like that. An old sock would work, plastic bags, old rags, something like that. But this is just something that I had on hand. And I just kind of put some, I wanted that to give it a little bit of form. And so then now I glue on my nose, and I did that first because I wanted to ensure that I had the right placement before I glue on my beard. And I want my hat to kind of go down over the nose, and this is a 1 3/4 inch wooden ball that was flat on one side, and so I just want to make sure that everything is nice and where I want it to be before I glue everything down. For the top of my hat, I'm just bending over the tip of it and just kind of fluffing out the ball of the hat. I have two 30mm rusty jingle bells. Now, I had these on hand. I know that, Amazon has jingle bells, and there's other places that you can find them. I just have some wire that I just threaded them through and just tied them to the ball of the hat. I'm just kind of positioning it so that they are toward the top. And so I just have one of these garland ties that come from the Dollar Tree. I had it on hand. Everything that I'm working with is something that I had on hand from previous years. And so anyway, I had just cut a strip of muslin fabric and just tied it around the hat. And just now I'm just fooling with it just to kind of get my bells and my fabric, my garland, everything, positioned on the top. And then what I do is I glue it down there so it stays nice and, stays in spot, or stays in place right there. And so, now, this is just the back of it. I'm just kind of taking off the fuzz. And anyway, so, I'm looking at it because I'm like, that beard's a little bit too long. So I end up a little bit, before I attach it to the wreath, I end up cutting it a little bit more. Now I'm going to start on the wreath. I'm using an 18-inch wire form and these 3 10-inch Deco mesh. The wire form is from the Dollar Tree and the Deco mesh are all from Hobby Lobby. And I just roll them out. I roll them all 3 at one time. Everybody has their own, or each wreath maker has their own way of doing things. And I'm cutting these at 12 inches, and I cut all 3 at one time because I'm going to put all 3 of them together and put them into or tie them onto the wreath. I actually made 24 bundles of these 3, and I'm just using the curl or cruffle technique. And how I do it, I just bend over the ends. I clip it with a little clamp that I get from the Dollar Tree and clamp that like that. I do each one of these the same way, and then I'm just going to layer them, crisscrossing them, make like an X pattern or a star or something like that. And and then I tie all 3 of these on the wreath, and like I said, I made 24 bundles. I just use some pipe cleaners and just attach them to the wreath form. On this one right here, I put the pipe cleaner on the inner ring, and then I go on the outer ring, and then I go on the inner ring. And so that I kind of stagger it. And so that is kind of how I make my wreaths. Just kind of tie those on there like that. And the clips from those blue and white clips I get from the Dollar Tree. I find them in the laundry section, and I love those clips, clamps, or whatever you want to call them, because they open very wide, and they help with streamlining and help just kind of hold things together, so that they kind of act as an extra pair of hands for me, or extra fingers. And I am all about convenience, I tell you. So I just love how full and how just all of this, I just love all of these different colors together. And because the Santa was so big, I ended up using the 18-inch wire frame, and I'm so glad that I did. These are the ribbons I'm using in this wreath. The first 3 came from Hobby Lobby. The Merry Christmas burlap came from Sam's, and the red and black buffalo check I've had on hand for a couple of years, and that came from Dollar General. And so I cut these at 13 inches using my Perfect Tails ribbon helper. It kind of helps me with twisting my ribbon around it, and then I can cut it all at one time, and then I dovetail it what I want. So what I'm showing you here is I put these 2 patterns together, and I help myself by kind of get my bundles together. I just put these 2 together, and then the other 3 I will make that a bundle. I use my tiny attacher, my little stapler. It is just a handy little tool that I use in my craft room that helps with my bow making. Since I have 24 bundles, I need 24 bundles of ribbon. So I have 12 of each. And so for these 3 right here, I'm just making a bow with some raffia, because I'm going to put that in the middle of that. And that is what I am, the raffia, that's what I'm putting in those bundles. And I just trim off the excess and just hit it with some hot glue to kind of seal the middle of the where the pipe cleaner goes. And for the these larger jingle bells, I got these from Hobby Lobby a long time ago. I don't know what the millimeter is. It doesn't say it on the package, but they're large jingle bells. They were in the like miniature ornament section. And so I'm going to put these jingle bells in the middle of with the burlap Merry Christmas and the window pane ribbon. And so it was 6 of these jingle bells in this package. I've had them on, like I said, I got them when they were like clearancing out all of their stuff, many years ago. I pick up this kind of primitive country stuff, and so I had it on hand, so I am using it for this wreath because I think it just all ties everything together. So my point is, just be on the lookout, even at thrift stores, Goodwill, yard sales, marketplace on Facebook. People are always clearancing out stuff. And, check Amazon. They may have some of these large jingle bells. So I just alternated on the just put the ribbon bundles in the top and the bottom, and then I just trim everything with my little scissors and fluff everything out. And so I just love this. I just love the whole country feel of this wreath. I'm really happy the way that it turned out. And so I always try to, fluff my ribbons out so that they're not stuck underneath. Okay, so then now I'm going to put on my Santa, and I'm like, yep, that beard is a little bit too long. So I go through the same thing again, just using my box blade and just cutting off, the felt and just kind of tearing it as I go, not to cut the fur itself, so that it still is visible. Attach my Santa to the wreath, I'm using these cable tie mounts. Now these are listed in my Amazon store. I will have a link to that in the description box below if you're interested in these things that kind of help us attach these signs to our wreaths if you don't have, if they don't have holes in it. And so they are sticky already, but I like extra glue to give it extra bonding because I don't want my signs to fall off. And so I just use E6000 and as well as some hot glue. So just using the pipe cleaners, I just threaded it through the mesh back to the frame, twisted it around the wire frame just so that everything is nice and snug. And then I'm just making sure that my Santa is where I wanted him to be. Now, guys, I'm going to put a note on this that I would not recommend this to be in the weather elements because of the fur, because with weather elements it gets all nasty. Anyway, I would just have it for inside use. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I have this pine and it's faux pine. I've had it in my stash. It had a Hobby Lobby tag, so it's probably something I got last season. This silver thing right here, this is a stem cutter I got from Deco Exchange. I will have a link for it. It's an affiliate link that I'm going to list in the description box below if you're interested in checking it out. I had used some birthday money this past year to purchase it because it just has made my life so much easier. It's like a wire cutter, but I can just use it right there on my table, and I don't have to struggle with my wire cutters. Anyway, so with this pine, I had cut it all down nice, and so I used my steel picks machine to put a steel pick on the end of it, and then also my hot glue. I like to use the combination when I'm using putting it in Deco mesh wreaths like this, because it makes everything nice and snug. And if you saw my son's hands, he was in my room hanging out with me. I love that time like that. He was giving me his suggestions of where my holes were, and so I really appreciate it. Okay guys, here are more videos for you to watch in this Christmas in July series, as well as other videos that I have on my channel. If you click on my little picture, that will allow you to subscribe to my channel and we can become great friends. Thanks for watching guys. We will see you in the next video.